number one overall pick. I think you got that next wave of NFL players, which is so enticing, which when you see Jaden Daniels come into the NFL and you go, I can get something like that with a guy with just as good an arm.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets and when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
What's going on, football fans? Welcome into Pro Football Today. It's time for the pregame party here on this Thursday. Kasey Hudson, Dave Sharapan, Tom Vecchio, and Adam Kaufman getting ready to get you ready for Thursday Night Football. We got the Vikings taking on the Rams. And, gentlemen, we have a lot to figure out here. There's line movements. I think that there's bait going on when it comes to the sports books. There's just so much going on. Cooper Kupp's returning for the Rams. I find out a few felt like short minutes ago, but it was definitely like 2 hours ago. I'm being dramatic. Puka Nacua is active for tonight's game, and there are a number of players that should make an impact when it comes to this matchup. 2.5 spread is what I am still seeing. Earlier, I saw 48.5 on the total. Moments ago, I see 47.5 now on the total, but regardless, it's always going to be a good show when I get a chance to hang out with y'all three. So, Dave, Sports King, what's going on?
Not too much, Case. Good to see you. You know, we had you on BVB the other day. You killed it, and we talked a lot of hockey, and we had a day with all the games. So tonight, I mean, it's that time of year where all the sports are going on, except for baseball, but the World Series starts tomorrow. Yeah. You get all those mixed messages with the lines and the games and all this other stuff. Isolation game on Thursday. And, man, I've heard a lot about the Rams being the side and the public money's on the Vikings and the total's going to be an under until they announce that those guys are playing for the Rams, and now it's going to be an over. I'm very confused. That's why I'm glad I'm here on the Thursday night party with you and the boys. Hopefully we'll find some sense and some bets. Yeah, just a little clarity.
Bring some clarity to the confusion. Hopefully, I mean, it was fun to chat with you guys. We had the Frozen Frenzy that Tuesday, but hopefully this is not that kind of party. But if it is a frenzy, I think we're the right ones for the job. Tom, how's it going on your end? What are you seeing and liking in this matchup? Are the books baiting you into anything enticing? Because Dave posted something so interesting about 90% of the public being on the Vikings, but then 80% money line when it comes to the Rams. Like I said, a lot of things we got to bring clarity to tonight.
I'm doing great. I think this might be the toughest game that we've had to cover thus far this year. The Rams activating both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua throws a massive wrench into things, and what we're going to be getting from them is completely unknown. Anyone that tells you they know what's going to happen tonight, they're lying. We're going to give our best guess or best estimate of what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen tonight. And ultimately, when we look back at some of the Rams stats over the past few weeks, None of that matters, right? We are now getting two elite wide receivers added back into the mix. So no matter what happened for their players and their usage over the last few weeks, that is completely irrelevant. We can maybe look back to week 1 to get an indication of what we're going to be getting from them. But overall, saying a player did this, that, or the other thing, none of that really matters because we don't know what we're going to be getting. Adam Schefter tweeted that they're going to be, Puka Nacua is going to play. He's activated, and they're going to test it out pregame to see how much he's going to play. We don't know what that means. Is it going to be 15 snaps? Is it going to be 20 snaps? Is he going to be a decoy? We simply don't know. And Cooper Kupp, while he's playing, he's not at 100%. So it is a complete mystery from the Rams side of things.
A mystery it is, and what a time for a mystery such as October, Adam. But, Tom, you make a good point to mention that we don't know what to expect from this team because week 1 was a different story. We're talking about a Rams team that gave the Lions a run for their money in overtime, falling short by 6 points. They only lost 20-26, so a lot of questions to be answered. But, Adam, how's it going? What's going on? What do you think about this game? What trends and all the things you have for us?
Well, how we're trying to crack codes and figure out mysteries. Dave, who are you rooting for tonight?
Well, I'm representing the book because the books all need the Rams. So I got the Rams stuff on.
I am on the Rams. I got the +3. I know there are 2.5s out there right now. Kasey, you brought up trends. I'll give you an interesting trend that supports going with the Rams tonight. And that is, and this is according to Walter Football, it's a really good stat. Teams coming off of their first loss are 36-42 against the spread after week 6, including 1-3 on Thursday Night Football. As we know, the Vikings coming off their first loss, it was that shootout against the Lions. Now they could just as easily be 6-0. It was a difference of a game-winning field goal there. And an exciting back-and-forth game. I don't think we're going to have a shootout quite to that same degree tonight, but I do think we're getting points. I like the over in this contest, the 47.5, 48, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of talent out there on the field on both teams. Tom hit on it, where I'll push back a little bit against what Vecchio was talking about in terms of the sort of unknown and what are we going to get and what does this look like. I think, and he would agree with this, we know what the Vikings are going to look like. We know what that side is going to do offensively. When it comes to the Rams and the uncertainty of Cooper Kupp coming back in the lineup and even more so Puka Nacua with that pregame testing of the injury and all of that stuff, it's true. We don't know if Puka is going to have 2 catches for 15 yards and largely be used as a decoy, or if he's going to have 9 catches for 120 yards and score 2 touchdowns. That we don't know. But I do think that when you put it all together, whether it's Kupp or Nacua or Atwell or, whomever, I think we're getting passing yards out of Matt Stafford. I would go over on his line tonight. I think there's going to be some consistent moving of the ball from the Rams, and whether you want to look at Stafford as someone who is going to be throwing just to throw, and that's the game plan, and those are the weapons, or throwing because they're playing from behind, either way, I like him to go over his number.
Do you like it like you liked Baker Mayfield on Monday night in that party? Because,
no, I love Baker Mayfield.
I was going to say, because that was one of those ones that I couldn't wait to see what the final number was, because you told everybody about it. We talked about it. We waited to tweet it. And he almost had 400 yards. So if you like that tonight, Kaufman, it's time for you people at home to maybe hit the button.
This isn't quite a Matt Stafford to the moon like Baker, but I do think it's a solid play, and I would conservatively play his over. I don't think you need to ladder him up to 300 plus.
I don't think it's that nerve-wracking because regardless of the pressure, Stafford does still go for the throw. Tom, what were you going to say?
I'm totally in line with Adam on that. Like, we do know what we're going to get from the Vikings, and then we'll dig into some of the stats, as we go through the different portions of the show. But I'm on board with Stafford having like a pretty solid game tonight.
Oh, there we go. 2 minds alike, and that just helps us Scooby-Doo through some of these mysteries. And then the trends, I mean, those ones are fun. That's totally fine. I'm here for it. But I do agree. And even without the announcement of Puka Nacua being into the mix, the relatability, the familiarity, the confidence between Stafford and Cooper Kupp, I think already had fans feeling like this was a big night for Stafford, but it also, regardless, had me on the over because I could see the Rams finding the end zone at least twice, and what this Minnesota offense should be able to do. I just thought 48.5, where you're going to see a number of points come from either, if not both teams. So Puka Nacua in the mix or not, I still think that we're going to see a little bit of a shootout at some points. But the best way to go through these mysteries, the best way to dig even deeper is to take some of these groups head-to-head. Actually, not some of these groups. All of these groups. Coming up on the next segment, we break down the quarterbacks head-to-head, the wide receivers head-to-head, the running backs head-to-head. And trust me, this running back conversation, I hope you boys are ready because we definitely have things to unpack. The number of Williams this and Jones this. We've got a lot of confident bets out there. So we're going to help you weed through all of it. Like I mentioned, it's time for us to Scooby-Doo this. I use that because it's October and I only have so much time to use all of my spooky references, so I'm going to try to throw it in there as much as possible. Make sure you're following us over at SportsGrid. It's as simple as at SportsGrid. Make sure you're following all of the fun handles because we chat during the game, and we like to keep you guys posted on all of the NFL coverage for Monday night, Thursday night, and so on and so forth. But we have a lot to unpack when it comes to the Vikings taking on the Rams, getting ready to go down, so don't go anywhere. Stay with us here on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into Pro Football Today. It's the pregame show with Kasey Hudson, Dave Sharapan, Tom Vecchio, and Adam Kaufman. We were talking about unpacking this, what sounds like it's going to be a thriller of a Thursday night football matchup. We got the Vikings and the Rams. We got the Rams not only bringing back Cooper Kupp, but Puka Nacua being activated roughly a few hours ago. So before the break, I mentioned the best way to start unpacking all of this is to take some position groups head to head. And we got to start with the quarterbacks here. Sam Darnold seems like he has found a home in Minnesota, a system that is working for him. And look, the guy doesn't only use his arm, but he gets some ground game going there, which is very helpful. But we also know Matthew Stafford in the right positioning can air out the ball tremendously. So, Tom, I will start with you. When we're looking at Matthew Stafford and Sam Darnold, where do some props lie favorably for either or both QBs?
Let's start with Matt Stafford. I really like him tonight, as Adam alluded to. I think this is going to be a big game for him. And, when we look to Minnesota this season, in terms of their defense, they're allowing the 6th fewest points per game at only 17.8. They've allowed the 2nd fewest rushing yards per game, only 80 rushing yards per game they're allowing, but they also allow the 3rd most passing yards per game. We've seen Minnesota get out to these 14, 17-0, 17-3 leads, and the teams that they're playing are often put in passing game scripts. So I think we're going to see something along the lines tonight where Stafford is going to have to pass the ball, and their run defense is just legitimately good. So I don't like Kyren Williams tonight. I like the over on his receiving, which we'll get to. But I think Stafford's in for a big game because they have these reinforcements coming in terms of their receiving core, 2 elite wide receivers. And then we're just going to see Stafford and the Rams playing from behind with the Vikings out ahead. So I like the over on his yards. I think that's fine. Specifically, I like him over 33.5 attempts. That's where I'll go to as my favorite bet from his, but I think the yards is totally fine tonight as well.
All right. Adam, you basically made it clear before we cut to the break that you're basically on the same page. Minnesota's defense being ranked 6th in the nation, that's not veering us away from much. Not to mention, is it a little too obvious that Kupp gets back into the mix, Puka Nacua potentially gets back into the mix? Williams has been such an anchor for this team, making progress offensively. Is it too obvious to just be like, Stafford's going to be able to do this, air the ball out, let's move along?
I don't know that it's obvious because you have to consider a sort of a multitude of things, right? Over the course of Stafford's career, he's actually excellent against the blitz, and Lord knows he's going to be facing plenty of pressure from the Minnesota Vikings. Thing is, this year, if you want to, devil's in the details, I guess. If you want to get into the numbers, Matt Stafford sucks against pressure this year. He's 26th out of 27 ranked quarterbacks. He's awful against the blitz, but you have to consider, like I said, devil's in the details, that largely he's been playing without Kupp and he's been playing without Nacua. Nakua's been out since week 1. Kupp went down in week 2. He hasn't had his weapons. So I presume that at least once he does and they're healthy, and I don't know how healthy they are tonight, I'd like to think that Kupp is going to be the Cooper Kupp we're used to, probably not getting, 20 targets and having 14 catches like he did in week 1, but I do think he's going to be busy in a giant part of the game plan. And then Nacua, like we talked about, is going to be whatever he is. We'll find out. But as these guys get healthier, I think we're going to see the Stafford we're more used to seeing. What I'm interested in, I'm talking a little bit out of both sides of my mouth here when it comes to this, is as much as I do think that Stafford's going to throw for a boatload of yards and the pass attempts are going to be up and, they're just going to be throw, even though I think Kyren Williams could have a solid game as well. Yeah, I think he's going to throw a pick. He's thrown for interceptions 3 straight games. Minnesota leads the NFL at almost 2 interceptions per contest, 1.8. And you can get an interception at plus money. Now, never mind that graphic. It was plus money when I looked at it earlier. You get plus money on Stafford to throw a pick. I think that's a solid number to at least invest in. Even if you're wrong, it's a logical plus money play.
I'm here for it. I'm sure it's still plus money. We're gonna find the plus money in one of these books for everyone. It's not.
You can't just come to the book and name your price. Like you're one of those bettors.
Can I make a book? Can I make a sports book? Because I feel like it would just work better for everybody.
A lot of people should. A lot of people should actually do it, and then you'd understand that the perils of it. And you might understand.
I don't want the stress. I take it back.
It's a lot of stress. Believe me, it's a lot of stress.
It's too much. I'll keep my stress right here partying with y'all. Go ahead.
That QB prop
is
interesting.
Let's go to the Caribbean or wherever Dave was when he was doing it.
You don't have to do that now. You can move that. You can do that in the States. I had to do it back in the day. Look at the QB number. You guys are making a very good case for Stafford, but when you put up that graphic, they're almost identical. I was going through it before the show. Yeah. Their yards thrown tonight are 2 yards apart. Their number of completions are 2 completions apart. Their number, the price on the interception, you saw it on the Stafford, the price on the Darnold interception is exactly the same. I'm going through it. Now, that's flipped, actually. The no is minus 120. And the yes is minus
the graphics department hates us right now.
They do. Like the lines move sometimes. It's fine.
They really just want us to stay on point. That's all.
I'm hearing all this Stafford stuff, and I'm going, what about Sam Darnold? Why can't he have a big game? And I'm looking at the numbers going, maybe we might be overestimating the Rams stuff a little bit or underestimating the Darnold stuff. Or the script plays out exactly like you guys talked about, and you're all good.
Yeah, well, Rams defense is still pretty banged up, regardless of who's activated, who's going to help out the offense. The whole conversation is heavy on the Rams offense. We haven't talked about the fact that they got a little bit of a fractured D-line coming at them tonight, or helping them out tonight. Kind of to build off of devil's advocate of what Adam was saying, though, with Cooper Kupp being back in the mix, Matthew Stafford is one of those quarterbacks that's not taught, well, that was talked about more so back in the day. I guess that's a rude thing to say, as for his release on the ball. So when you have that chemistry and connection with your receivers, that release comes in a lot faster, which means the pressure should hopefully affect him slightly less. But I do love an interception. And look, guys, if you want plus money on it, why don't you just pick a guy to get the interception? Stop being so scared and just saying interception in general.
Wow.
And I'm just saying, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but you got a number of guys here. Gilmore to record an interception, plus 500. Harrison, the Once Upon a Hitman, plus 500. Adam, I don't want that attitude, okay? I'm trying to help put money in your pockets. I'm trying to get Dave a house. Like, we got to get Tom gas money because he's coming in studio next week. Like, we've got a lot of things to worry about, and I'm just worried about my friends.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly. This is me being a good friend. Yeah, once you get your house back. I'm going to hit these of these days. Anyway, we've got another break coming up here, but y'all know what's going down on the other side. We've got some same-game parlay. Tom's been winning heavily, but I think tonight Adam might have a winner for you guys. I have no idea, which means y'all go nowhere. Stick with us here on
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards.
That was
thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst players we've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like this that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, guys?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Back at it with Pro Football Today. It's the pregame show with Kasey, Tom, Dave, and Adam. But most importantly, it is time for some same-game parlay. All right, Tom keeps racking up the W's, but it is Monday. Wow. It's Thursday. My gosh. Which means
We don't even
it's
know
time
what
for
day it is.
Tom.
What are we doing?
Wow. Guys. Anyway, let me not take any more time away from Tom. Racking up, yeah, you've done it a couple of times. Racking up some W's in the SGP column. Tom, hit us with your SGP so I can stop talking about what day it is.
Let's get to it. Starting off with over 48.5. This is what it was earlier. Again, if it's 47.5, 48, whatever it might be. I think there's going to be points tonight, a good amount of points. I don't think we're going to fly over and see 60, 70 points as we have in some of these recent primetime games. But I do think we're in for a good amount of scoring. Matt Stafford, 225 plus yards. Again, I've spoken about how good the Minnesota defense is overall. But again, they're allowing the third most passing yards per game this season because, again, we often see their opponents playing from behind and they're put into these passing game scripts. And then ultimately, I want to go to Kyren Williams over 14.5 receiving yards for that last part of it. You know, we've all kind of alluded to it or mentioned it. Stafford's going to be under some pressure for the blitz. And you know, I didn't want to put in Puka Nacua. I didn't want to put in Cooper Kupp. I think Kyren Williams is going to be in for a good amount of yards, those quick dump downs because of the pressure is going to be facing Stafford. So ultimately, I think Minnesota's out in front, and that's where like I'm building this parlay. It's like Stafford's going to need to pass the ball because Minnesota's out in front. Kyren Williams is not going to be rushing the ball tonight. He's actually going to play a decent role in the pass catching game because with Cooper Kupp back and Puka Nacua, the defense has to worry about them just a little bit more combined with the blitz. I think Kyren Williams is in a good spot for some receiving yards tonight. So it's only plus 310, not shooting for the moon here. I like this spot, a little bit of points, a little bit of Stafford passing. We're in a good spot.
All right, all right. What's your good spot, Adam, for your SGP?
Anytime Tom says not shooting for the moon, it feels like a subtle dig to segue into my parlay because he knows.
He's like, I'm not shooting for the moon, but this guy is.
Someone else might be.
I'll tell you, Kasey, what day it is. It's the day that Dave actually sides with me on one of these things. It's a four-legger that we're giving you here with this same game parlay. You're looking at it on your screen. It's almost a 5-1. Plus 494 on FanDuel. I don't need to go over the Matt Stafford 225 plus passing yards because one, Tom just did, and two, I've been talking him to death. I like him in this spot tonight. Now, obviously, we both like Kyren Williams in different ways. Williams, he has just been that free square, and you know what? If that loses tonight, it loses. But so far, he has touchdowns in 9 straight games dating back to last year, and he has got a solid matchup against a defense that just saw Jahmyr Gibbs produce pretty well. I think that Kyren Williams, we know he's going to be involved, and whether that's as a runner, as a pass catcher, whatever, find the end zone, and I believe that ultimately he will. If we're staying with the running backs, Aaron Jones on the other side, honestly, he's got me even more excited. I think he has an excellent matchup against a putrid, just awful run defense on the other side for the Rams that is allowing 150 rushing yards per game. It has been an absolute disaster. And sure, on the short week, you always see this on Thursday nights. The backup, in this case, Ty Chandler, he's probably going to be available and involved as well. But even still, Jones, he's gone for 90-plus rushing yards in 4 of his 6 games. Again, the Rams are 30th against the run. Jones is in a spot to really pick apart here. I like it a lot. And then Justin Jefferson, you know, we'll play just below the number, even though exceeding his prop wouldn't surprise me at all. It's only a few yards north of what we're looking at anyway. 80-plus receiving yards out of Justin Jefferson. He's the guy. He has had at least 50 in every game this year. I know 50 to 80 is a long way. But again, great matchup. Terrible defense on the other side in terms of pass D that Jefferson can exploit. And he was even talking during the week about, man, it's been a few weeks since I've had a century game. He's getting to 100 tonight probably, but I'll play it more conservative with the 80.
Sorry, that was the more conservative part, but I like it. I'm actually a fan of it. Dave, we're going to give you a minute to just digest all of that.
All right.
Because the
good.
four-leggers, like Adam's coming hot with the four-leggers as of late. And I feel like I'm not saying Tom's saying anything about the moon thing, but just to kind of add to the banged-up defense, linebacker Reader for the Rams, hamstring mess up. Then you got 2 D ends, back and shoulder, and then D tackle Neville Gallimore, shoulder, did not practice on Monday. So the trenches are looking a little grim for this Rams team, and then we already know what their defense has ranked thus far. Regardless, we still got more position groups to get into on the other side of this quick break, so don't go anywhere. Stick with us here on SportsGrid.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. Brady, I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Back at it with Pro Football Today. It's the pregame party with Kasey, Dave, Tom, and Adam. We just wrapped up some same game parlay, but it's time to find out who this Thursday night winner is going to be. Dave, I think you had some time, but if we get the graphics department to throw it back up, probably starting with Tom's, let's see who you choose today. There's no pressure whatsoever. You can go to the moon.
You put the thought
you can stick
in
with
my
Tom.
mind with Scooby-Doo, and as the parlays were being put up and made the case for, all I thought was like Ruh-Roh or Zoinks or anything else that Scooby or Shaggy may say, because I saw Tom's and there was actually it's been a couple weeks since I've seen something on Tom's where I go, oh geez, I think I like the other side. And it was total. I'm again, and I'm leaning under. So I saw that and I went, okay, I might have to cross that one off the list. And when I saw it, I said, all right, what's Kaufman coming with? I agreed with pretty much everything on Adam's list. The touchdown score, got the right one. It's a minus and it's a running back, but it's going to be good. The Stafford passing yards, you guys both sold me on that. Forget about it. I like Jefferson to have a big game, maybe with a big play, longest reception over. And the Jones rushing yards just seems like the right side. So tonight, precursor to Halloween, it's not a trick, it's a treat. It's Kaufman.
Wow. Kaufman gets the treat. There's a bag of candy for you. Well, there we go. We were all anticipating a little bit of a shakeup, but that's what makes this party so much fun, y'all. This kind of segues perfectly into the fact that we're going to continue taking things head to head. You talked about Jefferson having a big game, potentially, possibly being looked at for one of the longest receptions, but that's usually kind of Cooper Kupp's job. Is that something that we would even look towards? Because I will say this, I'm going to start with you, Dave, just because of the curiosity behind it. Are the books trying to get us to buy into the comeback of Cooper Kupp? I mean, what the lines have looked like in terms of him having like 70-plus receiving yards of involvement on his first touchback. His receptions are sitting at 6.5, and I think a longest reception is something we've seen time and time again. I've seen it versus my teams miserably enough, but what are the books trying to sell here when it comes to Cooper Kupp getting back in the lineup?
So what Tom said at the beginning of the show about throw out everything that you've seen and heard from the Rams. When the guys come back from injury, especially a guy who's likely to get a lot of targets and a lot of receptions. And they, like a big part of the game, it's the book's worst nightmare because you want to put up what you used to put up, but are you supposed to put that up? And then you let the market tell you. So when you see these, numbers right here between Jefferson and Kupp, 6.5 total receptions is the one that jumps out to me. If Cooper Kupp is healthy, that is going over. I think he does catch more than 6.5 passes. Now, for the yardage, I like Jefferson's number, despite the fact that they are, not that far apart, but they are far apart. So the book is trying to play defense. I say it all the time. The bettors are on offense. You don't have to, you pick whatever play you want. And the books have to play defense and react, especially on a night like tonight when both Cooper Kupp and Puka are coming back.
I like it, especially because you mentioned the receptions. Go ahead, Tom.
Jump in real quick. Like Dave, you said that they put the lines where they were, but we would see Cooper Kupp's yardage in like the high 80s. So this is that's a pretty dramatic difference from where it is today.
I think
that's just the thing I find interesting.
Yeah, not knowing exactly. Like you remember, Tom, his number used to be 99.5. Like it was just a matter of whether he was going to get 100 yards or not. So you have to inch it down. And I think bettors maybe take an offensive lead on that. Like the rhombuses and the parallelograms, they'll shoot you under, so you adjust it more to the down than you do to the up when the guy comes back like that.
Yeah, I think one of my
bigger example though, isn't he?
Right. And my kind of question coming into this game, so I said it's a big mystery, is if Kupp isn't healthy, and obviously less so with Kupp compared to Puka Nacua, but if Kupp isn't healthy and he's out there for, let's just say hypothetically, he's out there for a decoy role and he ends with 2 catches for 30 yards, 3 catches for 30 yards, I don't think he's going to fall right on the line. He's either going to go way over this and he can have 100 yards tonight, or he's going to fall way under. I don't think he's going to end with 58 or 59 yards. It's going to be way over, and the books are totally wrong, and anyone who altered to 80 or altered to 90 are going to be cashing in, or he's going to be way under.
Well, I think that's just kind of building off of what Dave and basically what you just said, Tom. I like the reception still being over 6.5 because I think the want is going to be there to get the ball to Cooper Kupp. I don't think that he's on the cusp of being healthy. I think they probably gauged his return accordingly. But I like that because we don't know what the yardage can look like. And Tom, that's where I completely agree with you. It could be outstanding and go back to what we've seen, or it can just be a little shorter in terms of the yardage that's expected of him.
I'm way more confident in the yardage than the receptions. You can go over yardage on one catch. You can't go over 6.5 receptions on one catch.
I would say yes, but just considering the matchups in terms of the secondary and then Cooper Kupp, and then we're talking about question marks with his health, I guess that's where I was just I don't want to touch the yardage, but I think that they're going to try to go for him. But continue, because we do need to take this head-to-head when it comes to Justin Jefferson, when it comes to Cooper Kupp, the potential behind Puka Nacua. So where do you lean prop-wise with this outside of what we just discussed?
I told Adam this pre-show, and he may have more to say, but I have no exposure to Justin Jefferson in any capacity tonight. I think his yards are fine. I often don't like betting number 1 wide receivers unless I have a super strong take on them, because I think their lines are too efficient. I think they get bet too much, and they're so refined that I want to stay away. I want to go to some of the secondary or tertiary options, as I always say, and that's where we find the most value. So I personally have nothing on Addison, Jalen Naylor, Tutu Atwell. I have some unders on some secondary players on the Rams, some of the on their tight end Colby Parkinson, because I think we're going to see Cooper Kupp play an extended role, and what Colby Parkinson has done over the last few weeks is meaningless to me, and he's going to play a diminished role. So if Adam has something more to say on wide receivers, feel free to take it, but my wide receiver takes today are minimal to none.
All right, Adam.
Yeah, I'll just say with Justin Jefferson, obviously you know that I like him. We've already talked about it from my same game parlay and everything, but this defense, this Rams defense has already allowed for 3-4 100-plus yard receiving games thus far on the young year. Now, not all of those to wide receivers, in some cases tight ends, but nevertheless pass catchers. And Jefferson, I think we can all agree, is among the best that exists in the NFL today. So obviously he is going to be involved. Darnold's going to be getting him the ball. I'm not going to say he's going to be force-fed necessarily, but he doesn't have to be. This is a guy who gets 4 to 7 targets or catches, never mind targets, double-digit targets, 4 to 7 catches every single week. And so I think the volume is going to be there. I think the production is going to be there unless the Rams just do an insane job defending them. Sort of where my heart goes out is to the people who invested in Colby Parkinson overs or Tutu Atwell overs, 3-4 days ago when the books started dropping the lines, because now obviously you've lost the CLV, the closing line value, but on top of that, their roles could be, if Puka is healthy, and that's the great unknown here, but if he is healthy, one, if we knew that he was, everyone would be pouncing on his receiving prop because it's so low. But on top of that, it's, like those guys, their usage and their like 5 to 9 targets each game, like they are going to be minimally used. And so this, again, we believe in Matt Stafford passing yards, but where are those yards going to go? That's a big question.
Yeah, and that tends to kind of be a little problematic, but we shall see. We do have Like It, Love It, Leave It coming up here on SportsGrid TV, and then hopefully we'll be able to touch on the running back room and see if there's anything worthwhile gauging on that side outside of Aaron Jones, because we all know that we're probably high up on the Aaron Jones ground game for tonight's Vikings versus Rams showdown for Thursday Night Football. So don't go anywhere. Follow at SportsGrid. Follow each of us over on X, but stick with us here on Pro Football Today. It's the pregame show here on SportsGrid TV.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Back at it with Pro Football Today, the pregame party with Kasey, Tom, Dave, and Adam. We were just running through some head-to-heads, but we've got some Like It, Love It, and Leave It. All right, Tom got us started with the SGP. So, Adam, give us your Hail Mary. What do you got for tonight's matchup?
I'm still a little upset, honestly, that what I gave out last week didn't hit. We got half of it. We had put, again, it was, I think, what 10-1 plus 950, something like that. It was Baker Mayfield at 300 plus, and it was J.K. Dobbins at 100-plus rushing. Who would have known that Dobbins was going to absolutely blow and be underutilized in that game? But we did get Baker. Let's see if we can nail this one here. We have hit these before, and this is another one of those, this guy to do this guy to do this in each half props. Game specials available to you on FanDuel. I'm going with the running backs because we've been talking so much about the wide receivers. I want to support the backs just a little bit. This is an 8-1. I already said I think this is a very favorable matchup for Aaron Jones and for Kyren Williams. I think they are both going to have really big games. So I'm looking at each of them to have 30-plus rushing yards in each half. Obviously, if they did exactly that, they finish below their rushing props as those lines exist right now. The cause for concern, and part of the reason, obviously, the number is what it is even if I think they're both going to be involved, well, what does that mean? Does it mean as rushers? Does it mean as pass catchers? Where are those yards coming from? This is not 30-plus total yards in each half. It's 30-plus rushing yards in each half. So we do need dominant run production out of each of these guys. It's a good enough number to where I am intrigued. I'm not going to say this is a play like you got to smash it. You have to play this, but I think it's good. I think it's viable. I think it's worth a sprinkle.
Okay. I don't hate it. What do you got, Tom?
Let's go to Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson to each have 25-plus receiving yards in each half at plus 410. You know, Dave, you said that you like the over on Jefferson longest reception. That would certainly get him there. And again, I'm expecting Kupp to be more involved compared to Puka Nacua, and his line is sitting at, you know, the mid to upper 60s in terms of total yardage, and Justin Jefferson's is in the 80s. This puts them both right on line, assuming that they can get it done in each half. I expect the Vikings to be playing out and ahead. That means they're going to be getting the yardage via Justin Jefferson, hopefully. They score, putting the Rams into a passing game script, meaning they have to get Cooper Kupp back fully involved in the offense after multiple weeks off, which I don't expect to be an issue. Obviously, the on-field connection with Matthew Stafford is very strong. Plus 410, I think, is a solid number, 25 yards in each half for Kupp and Jefferson.
All right. Ready for mine, guys?
We can't wait. I look forward to this part every single
I know. Everybody's on the edge of their
47 minutes
chair.
for this moment. Are you kidding?
Please.
Everybody's on the edge of their chair, and just for that, I will keep you waiting no longer. This plays into my best bet card, which I have Vikings over 1.5 first half touchdowns at plus 115. We've seen them get leads in the first half over and over and over again. That's a song by Rain Wolf if you don't know it. But my long shot is Aaron Jones first quarter touchdown at plus 500.
Whoa. It has to be in the first quarter, Case?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you get the number, Dave.
I know, but like, do you think he's going to score a touchdown, period?
I think that he's going to score a touchdown in the first period, Dave.
Oh, I mean, just period, just at all, like at all in the game. Like you narrow this down.
Yeah, she turns it around on you. So period.
I know,
period.
I know what she did. I know, but I wanna.
Do I think he's going to be the first touchdown of the game?
That could be that. The price is good, but it doesn't have to be.
But I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't trust it enough to be like, he's going to be the first touchdown of the game, but that's also at plus 500. But I feel more confident about the first quarter, seeing as how productive the Vikings have been in the first half. A lot of that action getting started in that first quarter.
All right, let's go in reverse. Then. All right,
real quick, Kasey did just bring up something really interesting that I don't think a lot of people think about. If you can get the same number on a guy to score in the opening quarter versus his first touchdown number, you obviously play the opening quarter.
You're opening your
that's
opportunities.
A no-brainer.
Yeah,
you're
opening your opportunities. You're welcome, guys. I do.
You may have just gotten somebody in a meeting. One of my risk room guys may just been like, wait, did they just talk about that bet on the show? That should not be 5-1 both. That's definitely a mispriced thing, but that's good. Case, I like it because I think he's going to score, and I can't wait for the tweet that when he does score in the first quarter, we're going to blow that thing up. All right, but it's just a like.
All right, I'll take it.
Tom, I love it. I love it. You went with the yardage with the receivers, and I think, like you said, Jefferson, I think he gets the longest reception over. I think he gets the yards. You have to worry about game script and whether Kupp is the decoy night or the usage night. to get this. So that's a little sweat. And Adam, I mean, I gave you the deal with the same game parlay. I can't leave this because you got the Jones stuff working in there. So you know at least I like it. Now, you were so good last week on one, and the other one just didn't come in. So I can't love it because I still got that thought in my mind. I like it. I really like the Jones half. I'm not sure that Williams gets there. Hopefully he does. And you tweet this. I would love nothing more than to get 3 tweets right at the beginning of the second half commemorating the like it, love it, or leave it, all 3 hit. That would be awesome.
You know, I can't 23-1 like 2 weeks ago. I would talk about what have you done for me lately, huh?
I know. That's the business, though.
I don't think you can pass out love that often, though, Adam. I don't think it's a you thing. I think it's a him thing.
Well, I love that then. I still love that now. You know, that was good. I didn't love it then, but I love it now. I do.
I love it
is great.
because I need Williams to get some yardage on the ground, and I'm hoping that he can do just that. Look, we're talking about the guy that tries to get a little creative with play calling, so I think we're up for anything. The mystery still lives along. We got more for you here on Pro Football Today, the pregame party with Kasey, Dave, Tom, and Adam. So don't go anywhere. Stick with us here on SportsGrid TV. Follow us over at SportsGrid on X as we continue our conversations from pregame throughout the rest of the night. But most importantly, we got a quick break. We got to get some final thoughts for this matchup. Any other best bets to get into the mix and maybe talk about this running back room just a smidge. So stick with us here on the other side of this quick break.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into Pro Football Today. It's the pregame party with Kasey, Tom, Dave, and Adam. We just went through some like it, love it, leave it. I don't think there was any leave it's. I think there was a like, a love, and a like. Is that correct?
A like, Like love. Yep. No leave-its tonight. No leave-its.
We're keeping things friendly here on your favorite programming, but we do need to get to some final thoughts and see what other best bets are in the mix for this showdown taking place between the Vikings and the Rams coming up shortly. And you know the in-game live crew will walk you through it. But once I dismiss these guys, it's me and Joe Lisi walking through our best bet cards. So make sure you stick with us here on Pro Football Today. Most importantly, though, Adam, final thoughts of this matchup. Any best bets you want to throw into the mix? You want to touch on the running back group? Feel free to let loose. Go ahead.
Well, so listen, in my same game parlay earlier, I watered down some of the individual props just so we weren't totally Tom shooting for the moon and still giving a robust 5-1 parlay. That being said, if you're just playing the straights, I would go over on Aaron Jones rushing, on Matt Stafford passing, on Justin Jefferson receiving, all yards, obviously. I think that all of these guys are in great spots tonight. And again, it plays into what we've been saying throughout the show. I think we're getting points in this one. I know Dave leans the other way, but I think there's going to be a good amount of offensive production. I think that if it doesn't hit, we're going to be awfully damn close to the number, a game that's in the low 40s as opposed to the mid 40s or high 40s, where it's going to be in the vicinity. And again, I'm on the Rams +3. If you can still find it, I know it's 2.5 at a lot of places now. It's not that I would be shocked if Minnesota, the 5-1 team, goes out and wins this game by 10 points. It's just that with all the talent available for LA and sort of getting its team back together, if the Rams look the way they look when they are healthy with all of this personnel, +3 feels like a very difficult number to not jump on for me.
We've seen this offense claw into some pretty sharp competition. Again, I tracked back to week 1. Tom, final thoughts on this matchup. Also, not to take away from your time, I'm surprised we didn't mention anything for Sam Darnold considering his numbers, but that's all I'm going to throw out there for right now. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, let's touch on a couple of running backs. Like I'm on board with that. I'm like, we're going to see some points tonight, especially the Rams getting their team back together. Just want to touch on Aaron Jones over 24.5 receiving yards real quick. He's at 23 yards or more in 5 of the last 6 games. I think he continues to play a big role. I like Kyren Williams under 73.5 yards. The first 2 weeks really give us the best picture overall. And again, Minnesota, they're allowing the second fewest rushing yards per game, only 80 rushing yards per game. And if we are expecting Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua to play an expanded role in the offense, they're just simply not going to be running the ball as much against an elite rush defense. And then Colby Parkinson under 31.5 yards. This number has come down to 29 or 28. So some of that sweet CLV. Again, Colby Parkinson's not going to play the same role he played over the last few weeks. He was been over this mark in 3 straight weeks and over in 4 of 6. Again, those weeks were without Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. He's not going to have the same target share and involvement in the offense as he did in the previous week. So under on Colby Parkinson, under on Kyren Williams, over on Aaron Jones, and of course Stafford over on the passing attempts. I think he gets the yards as well.
All right. Sports King, what are your final thoughts of this matchup?
I'm rooting for all of you. I am. But liking the under, I'm worried. I'm worried for all of you.
We already said you can't root for all of us. It's just...
Well, I mean, if all of those props, everything happens, if there's a lot of points, the game goes over, you can all actually win. It's possible.
That's true.
And people
we don't
have been
too
winning.
many conflicting bets tonight. That's true.
I know.
Right? We do have a lot of conflicting bets.
That's what I'm saying. Adam, where did you go to college? I can't remember.
Syracuse.
All right. Everything was nice and friendly, and everything was nice and personal. But on the other game that's going on tonight, I don't know. I wore the old school Rams stuff and all that. But Pitt, it's nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me, and Pitt is playing Syracuse. And I went to Penn State, but I was born and raised in Pittsburgh. Pitt's going to beat Syracuse. They're already leading.
See, guys, that was a setup. He knew where I went. I
couldn't remember.
It
was just a coincidence.
I couldn't remember as the hat
and you're
is ready.
damn right I'm on the orange +6, Dave.
Today is not the day. This is not the show. We were just like all on the same page. But you know what? We can't all get along all the time, but we can love each other all the time. But per usual, gentlemen, y'all make this fun. Make sure you're following Dave, Tom, and Adam as myself over on X, but most importantly, SportsGrid, so you continue to see how we cordially have conversations and root each other on or root against one another, because I'm rooting against Tom and Adam tonight in a number of ways. But stick with us on the other side of this quick break. It's me, Joe Lisi, at the Magic Wall to break down our best bets and cards to get you even more ready for the Rams hosting the Minnesota Vikings before in-game live takes over. So I hope you guys guys had a great time with us for. Hang out with me and Joe on the other side of this big break.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Did they talk about the play they ran at the end of the game when it was the worst player screen I've ever seen in the history of basketball? No. See, here's what you got to do, Sherwood. I respect you. You're fantastic. But damn it, don't blame the officials. When you have a game like that close, there's about 100 or 1,000 different things you could have done differently that could have won you the game.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They lost in Neyland to Tennessee, 24-17. Again, and look, that puts Alabama in a very tough spot. I was looking at the SEC standings just before. They've got 2 losses now in conference because they lost that Vandy game.
They're still one of the top-ranked teams in the country when they lose. Everyone else drops like a brick when they lose, except for Alabama.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
I know that.
Welcome back into Pro Football Today. It's the pregame show, but now it's Kasey Hudson and Joe Lisi because it's Thursday. We got some best bets to talk about because typically, or at least the past 2 weeks, me, Tom, Adam, Dave, we've all been on the same page. Today, not so much.
No, huh?
And what do I say every Thursday? I like my unique partner in crime. I need some backup here. But first, what are your initial thoughts when it comes to this matchup, Vikings versus Rams?
I actually lean to the home team, LA, because it is a short week. We saw Minnesota get beat up a little bit on the offense and defensive lines by Detroit, divisional game. Now they have to travel out to the West Coast. That might have some residual effects. So I do lean to LA outright. I took them plus 2.5, plus the money line at 122. Total, I'm a little perplexed. Typically, I'm all in on overs. You know that. 48.5 and then now 46.5, so I'm a little concerned. Want to see how the first 8 minutes play out. If we can get low 40s, even high 30s, I'll jump in that perspective.
Oh, I like that. I like that angle a lot. I was a little nervous as well, but I was hoping that between some of the fracture going on the Rams defense, maybe, we know that the Vikings can score.
Right.
We know that with Cooper Kupp being back in the mix and Puka Nacua, depending on his role will be, that there's going to be some scoring going on. But if it drops, that's probably something that I'll keep a closer eye on. Now, as for some best bets that you've got or like angling into this game, how does that play out?
How about tight ends? And I love my tight ends. I'm not looking Minnesota as much as I'm looking Colby Parkinson for L.A. and Matt Stafford. We know that Puka Nacua is in that lineup. He has 28.5. Cooper Kupp. How much are they going to utilize him, especially if he's on the trading block like everybody says? Colby Parkinson has great value. 29.5. I think he can get Kasey up to 40+ tonight. But I also like him plus 360 to hit pay dirt tonight. Red zone opportunities for Colby Parkinson.
Yeah, I think they are probably going to have to get a little creative there because they're expected to have a matchup versus what their game plan will be and try to not to be so obvious. So I actually do like the tight end action getting involved here. I got one for you, though. A lot of people are wondering, what is the workload going to be like for Kyren Williams? He's been a huge anchor for this Rams team throughout the season, with Puka Nacua being out and Cooper Kupp as well. But most importantly, I don't think they're going to come in and just completely disrupt what has worked for them. Williams is going to have a tough thing ahead versus the Vikings defense, but Vikings did just let up 100 whatever versus Gibbs. And I'm kind of looking at that week 1 script, what happened versus the Lions. You've got Ty Chandler that was able to pick up a number of rushing yards. You've got Gibbs. You've got other people that were still able to punch through this Vikings defense in the first couple of weeks. So what do we think?
I like Kyren Williams tonight. So as a number opens up at 73.5, we're seeing 71.5s across multiple books right about 10 minutes before kick. But I think he could break out with 90+. Keep in mind, you mentioned Jahmyr Gibbs last week, 116 yards on the ground. Also caught a couple of passes coming out of the backfield. When the Rams are successful, they're running the football with Kyren Williams. How beat up is that Minnesota defense? 2 weeks ago, second best rush defense in the NFL. That was against the Jets. A little regression, maybe. I'll take Kyren Williams on a discount tonight.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that one. Now, the bigger conversation being Cooper Kupp returns. Is the workload going to be as expected? I was asking Dave earlier, are the sports books kind of trying to bait you on something when it comes to the 67 over-under rush or receiving yards, or more importantly, receptions? When we were talking about it, I feel like the target activity is going to be there, which means some of the receptions have to come into play. I like the over 6.5 play on receptions. I just wasn't sure what was going to take place with the yardage.
I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach with Cooper Kupp. The targets are great in regards to the receptions, so that's a nice look. I think if we're talking Puka or Cooper, Puka's got a 28.5 number. That could be 1 or 2 catches, so I would jump in on Puka. But I also like Tutu Atwell. Keep an eye out for him. 40+ tonight. He's got great value. He's a home run hitter, so if Cooper's not 100% or they're not going to utilize him as much, Tutu Atwell could gain some yards tonight.
Interesting. So do you think it's going to be one of those things where Stafford tries to not equally, but where he tries to make things a little bit more confusing as to who his target share is going to go to? Because
it's possible.
We don't know what's going to take place with Puka Nacua. They're saying they want to see how warm-ups go, but some people started to jump off the Atwell train, as well as like even Colby Parkinson.
Yeah, well, Atwell, in the absence, right, stepped up with multiple performances, 66. They hung a 30.5-point number on him tonight. I like that because it's selling Tutu Atwell, and he's still a role player, especially in third down situations where they go 5 wide. Again, I don't know how much they're going to utilize Cooper Kupp. We saw the number of 67.5, but again, are they looking to showcase him, or if they are in fact trying to trade him, they want to preserve him. They don't want him to get hurt tonight. So that's a concern for me. I like Tutu Atwell. I think he could be a player in this offense. Keep an eye out for him. And then on the flip side, I'll take a shot on Jordan Addison tonight.
Oh, talk to me more about Jordan Addison, because everybody's all in on Justin Jefferson, 80+ yards, maybe even finding the end zone.
Yeah, I like Justin Jefferson to score tonight, but if we're talking yardage, I'm not jumping in on JJ at 91.5. If LA's going to win this game, you have to double-team Justin Jefferson. It's Jordan Addison. Hasn't been to 80+ this year, but has come close. 72 and 66-yard performances at 60, 70+. Jordan Addison, for me, has great value tonight.
All right. Well, I like what you got on the books so far, but we're not talking much about what's going to happen between Stafford and or Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold showing us he can use his legs, that this system is complementary to his arm. His numbers look better. His rate looks better. Matthew Stafford, we know, can air out the ball as well. He's not scared of the blitz, most importantly, and now he'll have a receiver in the mix who can help with his release time and connection and meet him at the top of these routes. So what do you think we'll see out of Stafford tonight?
I think Stafford could go through his number, but I would bet against it. I'm not looking to the Rams passing attack. I'm actually looking to the rushing attack. It's more balanced tonight. I think rushing the football, staying in manageable third downs, then opening it up with play action pass. I know a lot of people are looking for Stafford to just air it out first, but when the Rams are successful, they run the football first, and that's what I think they do tonight. So I would go under Stafford.
See, this is why I was so excited to get your opinion. Pivoting quarterbacks for just a second now. Sam Darnold, as I mentioned, completion rate has cleaned up. His ability to execute has cleaned up underneath O'Connell. But more importantly, not only does he use his legs, he knows how to use his arm. I have him at over 262.5 pass plus rushing yards, minus 114 here. But I'm a little nervous because we know that Aaron Jones can have a big game. The D-line for the Rams is pretty banged up right now. 2 defensive ends are questionable. D-tackle did not practice on Monday, likely not going to be in the matchup tonight, so running the ball just seems like a go-ahead for Jones. What do you think about that one?
Well, coming off 93 yards, right? He was a little bit banged up, supposedly. He looked like he was 100% last week. Aaron Jones has great value. Sam Darnold, though, I like Sam Darnold. I like the look in regards to the passing attack for Minnesota. If we're talking aggressive offenses, I think it is Minnesota. When they dictate tempo and jump up early, they win matchups. It's when they're playing from behind that Sam Darnold and that offense become a little bit one-dimensional. Sam Darnold, 224. I think 244 was his number tonight. He could get up to 250. I like the look. Even 275. I expect Minnesota to be more aggressive through the year.
Yes, I would actually hope for that so that Addison can get some action, Justin Jefferson gets some action, and we'll see what takes place with the Vikings. And then one of the last things we discussed on Pro Football Today just moments ago, one of these quarterbacks is throwing an interception. Who are you putting your money on?
I probably would put Darnold because he's starting to regress a little bit. We saw 179 yards a couple weeks ago against the New York Jets, a little turnover prone, forcing balls into coverage. If LA does, in fact, jump up early, that could put pressure on Darnold to make plays. So I would take a shot on Sam Darnold tonight.
Okay, and one of my last plays of the day, Vikings over 1.5 first half touchdowns at plus 115.
I like the look. Vikings.
We've seen
yes.
14 points, 17 points, 28 points. I'm seeing plus money. I said go for it. Plus, I have Aaron Jones to score a touchdown in the first quarter at plus 500.
He's the catalyst of the offense. If Aaron Jones does hit pay dirt and gets over his number, most likely Minnesota will win this game.
There we go. Minnesota get the tone set, but we'll see what the Rams produce now that they got potentially 2 of their weapons back, not just one in Cooper Kupp. Most importantly, how will Stafford weather the storm that could be the Vikings defensive line? Outside of all of that, we've got a great matchup coming down for Thursday Night Football. Joe Lisi gets ready to join the guys, Kevin Walsh and Donnie Rightside, to run you through this matchup on In-Game Live. So follow at SportsGrid over on X. Follow all of the talent as we continue this conversation over on the social media platforms. And then make sure you stick around for In-Game Live. We've got a great thriller coming up for Thursday Night Football, so don't go anywhere. We're tossing it over to In-Game Live.
It's a new era in CFB to start off.
Same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to game time.